Hi, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 3, Developing Number Sense, Lesson 5. I'll share my screen. So, in your previous lesson, you learned how to use different mental strategies to help you do calculations involving fractions. In today's lesson, you're going to learn to use factors to simplify calculations. Remember to like the video. Remember to share the video with those you think can benefit. Subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so that when new videos are released, you will be notified. Before we start, I would like you to pause the video and answer these retrieval practice questions in 2 minutes. For question 1, you were asked to write down all the factors of 6 and 24. Factors can be written as factor pairs. So you could have written 1, 2, 3, and 6, or you could have written them as factor pairs. 1 times 6 equals 6, 2 times 3 equals 6. For 24, you could have written these as the factors of 24. Again, using factor pairs, you could have gotten these factors. Next, we were asked to fill in the gaps to complete the calculations. This shows that multiplication is commutative. So commutative means you can move the number around. The one that is on the left comes to the right, and then you still get the same answer. And here for B, you can see these are the answers. The number, you can see it shows commutative. We've simply just moved the 8 to that side and the 2 and the 3 to this side. For question 2C, you can have several answers. That's why it is written as A and B. You can have 10 and 14. You can have 20 and 4. So different answers would work, provided the answers add up to 24. Let's do some new learning for this lesson. If you're asked to work out 36 times 6, how many different ways can you do this using your knowledge of factors? Well, remember that the factors of 36 can be 2 and 3, but we do not know our 36 times table. So 36 times 6, if you write it as a bar model, this is what it's going to look like. So if we use our knowledge of factors, we have just rewritten this calculation as 36 times 2. But there is another factor missing, which is to multiply by 3. So this calculation can be written as 36 times 2 times 3. Hence, your calculation simplifies to 72 times 3. And 72 times 3 can be partitioned to be 70 times 3 plus 2 times 3, which is 216. Here, Rosie says that she can find all the factors of 60 by doubling 1 and halving 60. Well, do you agree? Have a think. Well, if you think about it, if we keep doing what she has said, we're going to miss these factors. Have you noticed? Yes, she's going to miss those factors because she's not exactly right. There are other factors of 60 that we can get without halving and without doubling the 1 and halving the 60. Pause the video and answer questions 1 to 3. So pause the video and answer question 1 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 1, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 1, you were asked, Tommy wants to multiply 26 by 6. You were asked to use the bar model and work out by multiplying 2 and then by 3. And you can see that this calculation can be simplified to 26 by 2 and then whatever you get, you multiply by 3. That will be 156. Here you were asked to fill in the missing values on the bar model, which we've done. You were also asked to explain by multiplying 2 and then by 3 to explain why it works. It's because 2 times 3 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So 2 and 3 are factors of 6. So we've used the factors of 6 to simplify this calculation. The calculation could also have been done mentally like this. Pause the video and answer question 2 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 2, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 2, Eva had a different method, Mo had a different method, and Alex had a different method. You were asked to explain why Mo's method works. Now, you may draw a diagram to help. It works because 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. So this calculation could be done by doubling 32, double and double again. Your answer will be 256. Pause the video and answer question 3 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 3, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So here we know the factors of 24. We've written the factors of 24. And then you were asked to use factors to work this out in your head. I'm going to write it down how this could be done in different ways, but one of the ways could be 24 times 5 times 5. Now we know this can be partitioned further, just doing 24 times 5. 24 times 5 is the same thing as saying 20 times 5 add 4 times 5. Now this here is 120. You can clearly see that. And then you multiply that by 5. Now, we know that this can be partitioned as doing 12 times 5, which is 60. And then we simply have 0 in front. So that's 600. So there are different answers for this calculation. What about if we have to do multiplication like this? How can factors help us to do this? Well, we know that the factors of 4 are 2 and 2. So this calculation is the same thing as doubling 43 and doubling it again. And here is what it looks like in a bar model. So if we double 43, that's 86. And if we double 86, that will give us 172. What about this one? How could we write this calculation or do it mentally? We can do it by multiplying by 4 first, and we know to multiply by 4 is to double and to double again. Or we could multiply by 3 first before we multiply by 4. But how many different equivalent calculations can you get? We can have these. We can also have these. And you can see that these all multiply to give you 12. But what about this calculation? Do you think this calculation is equivalent to 17 times 12? Of course not, because you can see that 10 times 2 is not equal to 12, it's actually equal to 20. So this calculation is not equivalent. Using factors can help us do division as well. So for the calculation 288 divided by 12, we can do 288 divided by 4 and then divide by 3. To divide by 4, you know, is to halve and to halve again. So 288 divided by 4 is to halve and to halve again. And that will be 72. And then we can divide 72 by 3 to give us 24. It's now time for you to pause the video and answer questions 4 and 5 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 4 and 5, here are the answers for question 4 and 5. So for question 4, you were asked to tick the calculation that does not give the answer 32 times 18. You can see quickly that 10 times 8 is not the same as 18, even though the 32 has been partitioned to 30 and 2. So that calculation is the odd one out. And you can have various answers because here you were asked to use which one did you use and why. So there are different ways to do this calculation, and different people have different ways of partitioning numbers. Here you have 3 methods for working out 24 times 12. You were asked to choose the method you prefer. Well, I prefer this one. Pause the video and answer question 6 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 6, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 6, you can see that this is equivalent. 2 times 10 is equivalent to 20. So 2 times 10 is 20. So this calculation has been simplified to 37 times 2 times 10. And the same has happened for all the other calculations. So you can see how factors can help us simplify calculations. Pause the video and answer questions 7 and 8 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 7 and 8, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 7, you were asked to find 3 different ways to multiply 16 by 50. There are different ways to do this, and note that I prefer this one. So 16 times 5 times 10. And then here you were asked, the bar model helps you divide 264 by 6. There are different ways to do this, but the bar model is showing you that the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. So this bar model is showing you that you can have 64 and then divide what you get by 3. And your answer will be 44. Pause the video and answer questions 9 and 10 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered questions 9 and 10, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So for question 9, you were asked to do 124 divided by 4. To divide by 4 is to halve and halve again. So it's to divide by 2 and to divide by 2. Why? 2 times 2 is equal to 4. They are factors of 4. Here, you can divide by 4 and then divide by 4 again. Here, you can divide by 4 and then divide by 3. And then here you were asked to show that 80 divided by 24 is equal to 3 1/3. To divide by 24 is the same thing as to divide by 8. And you can see that makes the calculation much easier because you now have 10 divided by 3, which if you write as a mixed number will be 3 1/3. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. So in this lesson, you have learned how to use factors to simplify calculations. Well done for sticking around and for taking your learning seriously. Until next time, take good care of yourself and bye-bye.